several newspaper stories hinted that you smoked marijuana to hit the bottle in order to work yourself into a frenzy while singing. What about that?
I don't know.
You won't even bother answering.
Hi, this is Elvis Presley. I guess the first thing people want to know is why I can't stand still when I'm singing. Some people tap their feet, some people snap their fingers, and some people just sway back and forth. I just sort of do them all together, I guess. When I was called to make my first record, I went into the studio and I started singing. I started jumping up and down, and I wasn't even aware of it. My legs were shaking all over. And then after my first record became a hit, I was on this big jamboree in Memphis at an open air theater, and I came out on stage and I was scared, completely stiff. And my band, we all looked like a bunch of dead people. We were scared so bad. I guess there were 4,000 or 5,000 people in the audience, and I was singing a couple of these rock and roll songs, and the audience got to hollering and squealing with me, and they had been very quiet through the whole show, and I was the last one on the show, squealing, and I left the stage, and they kept calling me back.
It scared me to death, man. I didn't know what I'd done. The manager backstage, I said, What'd I do? He said, well, whatever it is, go back and do it again. So I went back out and I did the same thing again.
Tell us about this sideburn business. Why did you decide to start growing sideburns?
I just always wanted to grow them when I was growing up. I always admired sideburns.
How old were you when you first let them start growing?
When I was old enough to grow them, I guess I was about 17.
There were some truck drivers, believe it or not, that drove big. They had scars on them. They were wild-looking guys. So I used to lay on the side of the road and watch these guys drive these trucks. When I was old enough to grow sideburns, I grew them. You know, I got criticized a lot for them, kicked off the football team and so on.
You were different than most of the kids then, right? I mean, you dressed differently.
Well, I suppose so by normal standards, but it was just something I wanted to do. I wasn't trying to be better than anybody else.
What about the sideburns trademark?
Well, I'm stuck with them. I had them long when I was old enough to grow them. About 16 years old.
No particular reason.
I just got stuck with them. I can't get rid of them now.
One thing that's got a big plug recently is the fact that if you went into the Army, you'd have to have your hair cut. How do you feel on that?
No, I don't care.
Doesn't bother you?
No, they'll go back. If it was a situation, if they cut them off and I never could have any more, then I would worry about it.
They look shorter today. You wearing them shorter than you?
I wore them shorter than I used to.
What's the reason for that?
Well, I don't.
I was understanding
kind of tired. It was down to my cheekbone here.
That's like the sideburns. They were okay for a while, but you outgrow them.
Don't you miss them?
Sideburns? Not especially. The Army took care of those.
You've done it for a lot of criticism on your wiggling on the stage, and some people have called it suggestive. Do you mean it to be suggestive?
No, I've never thought of it as being suggestive. It's just that's just my way of expressing the song.
You seem to be popular enough on your singing and appearance alone. Would you stop the wiggling if criticism grew too fast?
No, sir, I can't.
On your personal appearance, did you create a sort of mass hysteria amongst your audiences of teenagers? Is your shaking and quaking in the nature of an involuntary response to this hysteria?
Involuntary?
Yeah.
Well, I'm aware of everything I do at all times, but it's just the way I feel.
Do you think that your rocking and rolling has had an evil influence on teenagers, or you think it's just an outlet?
I don't see that any type of music would have any bad influence on people when it's only a music. I mean, I can't figure it out. I mean, in a lot of the papers that say rock and roll is a big influence on juvenile delinquency. I don't think it is. Juvenile delinquency is something that's, it just, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't see how music would have anything to do with it at all.
I've been getting some pretty bad publicity lately, especially after the Milton Berle show. I got quite a bit of bad publicity because of my actions on the stage. If there wasn't somebody on my side, I'd be lost.
people I get a lot of criticism for the actions I use on stage. I have been doing it for 2 years. I've been doing the same thing for 2 years. And it just got, in the last 4 or 5 months that I've got criticism. I guess it's because my records have become bigger and everything. In other words, the more popular you are, the more criticism you get. But, in other words, people can stay home and hear you sing. But when they pay their money to come out and see you on a personal appearance, those people want to see a show. They come out to see some action. And if I stood up in front of an audience and did nothing but sing, if I didn't put on a show, and if I didn't act like I enjoyed what I was doing, they wouldn't come out to see me the next time I went back. I watch my audience and listen to them, and I know that we're all getting something out of our system, and none of us knows what it is. The important thing is that we're getting rid of it, and nobody's getting hurt.
I understand that Mitch Miller of Columbia Records defines rock and roll as a safe form of rebellion against mother, father, and teacher. Do you go along with this analysis?
I don't exactly know what he means by rebellion. I mean, how would rock and roll music make anybody rebel against their parents?
What happened to all those movies?
I don't know. I learned better after a while.
What happened when you went on TV that time?
You know, when they filmed me from the waist up, I think it was a matter of, it was new at that time to see anybody's body vibrate or move at all. That's what I was doing.
But in that day, do you think people thought it was shocking?
I think so. I think they probably did.
How did you find out that he had cut it that way?
When I saw it. Played back, and I was so busy at that time, man. I didn't really have time to. You remember, I was just 19.
Well, one last question. How long do you think that rock and roll will last now? Would you think that it's...
Well, I wish I knew. That's a question that if I could answer, I'd be making plans for the future, but I don't know. I'll say this. It's very hot now, and I like it. I enjoy rock and roll. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't. But as long as it lasts, as long as it sells, I'll continue doing it. As long as that's what the people want. And if they change, if it dies out, I'll try to do something else. And if that doesn't work, I'll just say, well, I had my day.